Okay, number 11. Which of these best represent the domain? So, the domain for every quadratic is all real numbers. The domain for every exponential function, unless they've got endpoints, is all real numbers. And the domain for every line is also, domain and range, is all real numbers, except for on a horizontal and vertical line, you have some changes there. So what if it had asked for the range? The range would go from the bottom of that, so they're estimating, so this would be the range of this. So it starts at -5 and it goes up, so it's greater than or equal to. Number 12. Which graph represents a function with a range of all real numbers greater than or equal to -6? So if it's greater, then it's got to go up. So that omits B and D. And then it has to start at -6 and go up. So my answer is C. A is where X is -6. 13, we're going to find f of 16. So y equals, I'm going to go ahead and do alpha x for 1/3 and 1/3. Move over, open the parentheses, 4 minus x, close them, and square it. So I'm going to graph first. And that is a positive function. And I should have just went to the table because I'm looking for when x equals 16. And what is the y value? Is what it's asking. So go to your table. I need to look at 16, and my answer is 48. And just a number, nothing else. Which statement is true? P of x, -7 times 4 raised to the x. So the domain, as I said above, is all real numbers because it's going to go left and right forever. You're going to be able to put an x value. Let's go ahead and look at this function. -7, open parentheses, 4, close it. So to raise something to the x, you hit the up button, the caret symbol, and I can raise it to the x. So the negative is going to make it go down, and since we are not adding anything or subtracting, then our asymptote is going to be at 0. So the asymptote is where it hugs. So it's going to hug 0, but it's never going to go above it. So the domain, of course, is all real numbers. So the domain is all real numbers, period. The range is going to be y is less than equal to or less than 0. It's not going to ever equal 0. So it's going to get super duper close. And 0 is one of those where the calculator will actually not round for a long time. Some other numbers, it will go ahead and round after 5 or 6 numbers. So just because it ends up saying that it gets to 0 doesn't mean that it actually does. It just means it's rounding. But this is. So -2e to the 15th is a very small number. And -2, I take that back. E to the 15th is a very large number. So let's go the other direction. Because it's our negative values that get close to 0. So there we go. -0.002. -7e to the -9th is a really small number. So that's 8 zeros plus the 7. So point, then 8 zeros, and then the 7. So that's a very small number. So it'll keep going and not round for a while. Most other numbers, it will go ahead and round. So the range is all real numbers less than 0. So your answer is B. So 15 and 16, there are quite a few problems like this, so be ready. Which part of the exponential function is graphed on the grid? So this could actually, and this one could actually be quadratic also, because you're only seeing a small portion of it. So it could be a small portion of a u, but it says it's exponential. So we need the domain, so it has to be x. So we can omit B and D without even looking at it. And so your x values are going to start at -2 and go to the right. So to the right is greater and equal to, and it's a solid circle. So your answer is A. Your range for that function would be y is greater than equal to 4.5. So this is your range if it had asked. 16, and we're doing range, so it's a start and stop. And your every start and stop, x, y, and it's going to be less than symbols, and then because both of these are closed circles, it's going to be less than equal to. And then it goes from least to greatest. And so this reads x is greater than equal to and x is less than equal to. So we're looking for range, so that's going to be y. So I can omit A and C. And so my range, so my domain goes from -1 to 3. My range is going to go, it's not quite 6, so I'm good with 5.3, and then over to 7, so D. (17) Which table does not show y as a function of x? So the keyword is not. So there are going to be 3 of them that are a function and only 1 that's not. So you're looking for when x repeats. Because if it is not a function, x's have to repeat. So F looks good. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, that's good. -0.2 and -0.2. They are repeating, so H is not a function. So 18, if you noticed, I put 218, so this is 18A. So to be a function, and when you're looking at a graph, it has to pass the vertical line test. So to pass the vertical line test, that means a line can't be drawn to cross it. So which graph represents a function? So I can draw a vertical line here, and it crosses twice. Same for this one. Same for this one. But this one, no, I cannot draw a vertical line, and it won't cross twice. So J is my answer. Um, 18B, which one is a function? So 3 of them are going to have matching. So -5, -5, -6, not a -6. And actually none of those match. -3 and -3, and then you have all 2's. So my answer is G. And if it had asked you, what is, for G, what is f of 8? Well, you would look at 8 and what's on the other side of it. It equals -8. So if it asks you f of -8, it is 8. F of 6 is -6. F of -6 is 6, and so on. 19. So when the dots aren't connected, that is going to be a list. And we are looking for range. So range is your y values. And so we have 0. Looks like we have one halfway between 18. So they have that as 9. I'm good with that. 18. Then halfway in between would be, I'm good with the 27 and 36. And then 54, skipping 1. And then 72. So my answer is J. The domain would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on up to 8. So this would be my domain. And we are almost done with the review. Number 20. This is a start and stop, and we're looking for domain. So, and just to note, g of x, that's the same as y equals. And so those would be range answers. So your domain is going to go from -9 to 2. So -9 is an open circle, so therefore it does not equal. And 2 is closed, so it does equal. So that's why G is not it, because it's got your signs mixed up. And then just for extra, range for this function is going to be -6, which is closed circle, and 3 is an open, so J would be the range. And thank you.